I have actually been looking forward to this very moment for several weeks now. And the reason why is because every year around this time, I have the opportunity to share with our church the different initiatives that we're going to be getting behind for our annual Christmas offering. And for those of you who are new to Great Lakes Church, this is a tradition that we started back in 2009 when our church was less than a year old. All right, so to give you a little bit of context, we had 2 staff members, we had no building, we had no property, we had a budget that shifted week to week, and we had a lot of financial challenges. But in our very first year, we made a decision that marked us, and it defined who we were. And that is, we made this decision to launch an annual Christmas offering. And it was a really big deal because the purpose of the offering was to bless families and to bless individuals and to bless churches and organizations outside of our local church. All right, primarily those were the people that we decided we want to be a blessing to. And the reason that was such a big deal is because you know this. When people think of church, their thinking, their mind, their assumption is the church just wants to take from you. Take, right? Everything's about what the church can have from you. And so we made a decision that we wanted to be generous. We wanted to give things away. We wanted to be like Oprah. Okay, that was a big goal. Because here's what we know about generosity. Generosity opens up people's heart. Generosity tears down the walls that people have built up. It is an absolutely big deal. It is powerful. And it's the reason why in the first century, the Apostle Paul writes a letter to a young pastor named Timothy, and he says this. He says, teach those who are rich in this world not to be proud and not to trust in their money, which is so unreliable. Their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. As your pastor, I feel compelled to invite you every single year at this time to participate in our annual Christmas offering because we are rich. And what I love about this church is over the last several years, we've come to embrace the idea that we are rich because we live in America. Now, none of us feel rich, I get that. But we have embraced this idea that we are rich. We've accepted that idea, knowing the time period in history we live and where we live. And then we've collectively said, year after year after year, we're going to use our wealth, we're going to use our resources to bless people here, near, and far. Now, when I say here, I'm referring to Great Lakes Church, okay? Specifically, our children and our youth. Every year, we do something here, and then we do something near. That's in our local communities, and then we do something far that's outside of our local communities. And so over the years, it's been fun to just watch the momentum build. We've helped launch, over the last several years, 8 different churches. We've sponsored water projects in Bangladesh, in Honduras, in Ethiopia. Well over 1,000 people have access to clean drinking water because of our church. We fed hundreds of hungry children each month through the Feed One organization. We've together provided multiple sources of sustainable income for individuals in developing countries. We've worked with Heifer International to provide gifts of cows and chickens and other animals. Most of you know this if you've been around for a couple years. Before we ever owned property or had a facility ourselves, we purchased property and built a facility for a church in India. Now, I am not exaggerating when I tell you that is literally a fraction. That is just the start of what we've been able to do with our annual Christmas offering. And so if you want to check out what we've been able to do and some of the things that have unfolded over the last several years, you can go to 365generosity.com and you can see a list of things that we have done in the past. But now I want to take a moment and I want to walk you through what we're doing this year. And some of you might get a little concerned. What do you mean we're doing something this year? Because if you've been around the last couple of weeks, we've talked about how we're $200,000 behind on budget this year. And so I just want to bring a little bit of clarity to that $200,000 number. All right, at the start of every single year, we do what every church does, and that's we project a budget based on what we believe we're capable of giving as a church and the amount of generosity that's going to be poured out and what people are going to give throughout the year. Okay, that's how we set our budget. But then at the end of every month, we look at the reality and we say, okay, this month we are a little bit short of what we projected and thought was going to come in. So we have one of two options at that point. We can spend money we don't have, or we can just cut out and say no to a lot of things. And because we want to be responsible, we just cut out, just like you would in your personal budget. And we said no. And all year long, we've been looking at things as we've fallen short in our budget each month. We've said, nope, 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 nope. We're not going to do that. And so I want you to know, we haven't taken out of emergency funds. We haven't been irresponsible. We've just said no to a lot of things. All right, so that's what we talk about. We say being behind on budget is we just didn't spend money that we thought was going to be there. Because the bottom line is we want to be responsible. We don't want for our budget to affect our ability to be generous. And because we've said no to so many things, we still, at this time of year, have the opportunity to be generous. And so here's what we're going to do, here, near, and far. And if you want, you can take the Christmas flyer that you received when you came in, and you can kind of follow along with me as I walk through this. Let me talk about here. Okay, Great Lakes Church. With our Christmas offering, we are going to focus on creating irresistible environments. Now, we've always known that environments matter. But we've been portable for the most part. Racine recently got a full, permanent facility. But because we've been portable and because really the amount of money to bring Racine up to speed is way more than we had budgeted and projected and put aside, we have not done much with our facilities up until now. And so in 2018, we're going to bring our facilities up to speed so that we're able to welcome people into clean and modern facilities. More specifically, we're going to do this in our children's area and in our youth area. So you can go to 365generosity.com. There'll be two different links you can click on, Kenosha or Racine. And when you click on that link, it will bring you to an Amazon wish list of different items that have been selected for our campuses. The colors have been picked out. The specific design for the different things that we need have been picked out. So you don't have to worry about doing any specific shopping and trying to figure out what we need. You can see that. And if you feel compelled and say, I want to be a part of purchasing that, you can go ahead and purchase that. And the Amazon link will walk you through that. That's here. Now let me talk about near, our local communities. One of the things we're doing this year is partnering with our local shelters. And for those of you who are 18 years and younger, I want you to listen carefully, all right? Because this is your opportunity to participate. And if you have children that are not in the auditorium with you, that's fine. You can pass this on to them. We want to encourage you, find ways to earn money, find ways to save money, and then we're going to buy as many boxes of macaroni and cheese as we can. And anytime between now and the end of the year, you can walk into our lobbies and just load up with these boxes of macaroni and cheese. We're calling it mac and cheeses, okay? That's what we're doing. And so we are going to flood our local shelters with this item that they request all the time, and that's boxes of macaroni and cheese. Also, this year we're going to host our 5th prom for individuals with special needs. This has been a massive impact in our community, and we're going to continue to do it. We're also this year going to host our 3rd annual camp for kids in foster care. The bottom line is we want to continue to build on the momentum and the influence that we've been able to build on over the past several years. And then finally, here's what we're going to do far outside of our local communities, is we are going to help launch another church in Budapest, Hungary. Now, you might remember this, that a few years ago, we actually helped launch an English-speaking church in Budapest, Hungary. And this past summer, I had an opportunity to sit down with the pastor and hear how things are going, and I was blown away because they've grown. The name of the church is Riverside Church, and they've exploded in many areas, and they say, we are now ready to start another church, but this time we want to start a Hungarian-speaking church. And so my idea that popped into my head and we started talking about was, I would like Great Lakes Church to pay the salary of the pastor for the very first year so they can just do this with confidence. We love starting churches, and if you've been around, you know, we talk about it every year. Let's do another church, another church. This will be like our 9th church we help start, because when a local church launches in a community, there's a domino effect that begins to happen of impact. Okay, so with everything that we're wanting to do with our 2017 Christmas offering, it's going to be roughly $150,000 above and beyond our regular giving. Don't let that scare you or intimidate you, because Every single year since we've been doing this, we've increased our goal just a little bit, and almost every single year we've hit it, okay? Now, here's what it requires. It requires all of us to determine to give above and beyond our regular giving. If you give nothing, that ought to be easy to do, right? And if you give something, it's saying, okay, how can I stretch myself? Some of us, we're going to stretch ourselves $1,000, others $5,000, some $20,000. It happens every single Christmas. Others, it's going to require you to stretch yourself $25 or maybe $100. The thing I ask is that you participate, that you link arms with us, that you look at the resources you have and say, God, I am going to stretch myself. I'm going to say no to some things I normally say yes to. I'm not going to go out to eat as much in this season. Or I'm not going to buy a gift for myself like I was going to. I love to get myself Christmas gifts, and I'm going to say no in this season so that I can say yes to being a part of this. Now, you can imagine that when a pastor talks about money, I get a little bit nervous, right? There's a little bit of tension. Not with this. Never have I gotten nervous with our Christmas offering because nothing goes to me, nothing benefits me, nothing benefits my wife. We're not going on some cruise to the Caribbean with this, okay? We're not buying a personal helicopter to fly between our Racine campus and our Kenosha campus, okay? Nobody's getting a Tesla off of this. For the record, if you'd like to buy me a special gift, I'd be happy to talk to you privately. All right, you can buy a Tesla, that'd be great. But every single dollar given over the next several weeks is going to go to ministries and missions here, near, and far. Jesus taught his followers, he said, let your good deeds shine out for all to see so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. That is what we're hoping to do with this offering.